It's Denise. Denise. It's Denise. It's Denise. It's Denise. Denise. It's a podcast party. It's a podcast party. It's a podcast party.
I gotta say, I feel like we're besties now after this. What's up, guys? It's Denise Salcedo. Well, hello there, everyone. Happy Friday. Welcome to the show. It is June 17th, and we got a loaded night of news to talk about. There's so much going on in the world of professional wrestling. It's been like this the past couple of, really the past couple of weeks. We've had a lot of stories to kind of go over and talk about, but more so in regards to Vince McMahon and everything going down has been absolutely, it's been madness. Especially today with the news of Vince McMahon stepping down as CEO and Stephanie McMahon entering as interim CEO and chairwoman of WWE, quickly followed by the news that Vince McMahon would be making an appearance on SmackDown. And that immediately had a lot of people talking because we had no idea what Vince McMahon was going to do on SmackDown. It could have either been a complete and utter train wreck, or it could have been what it was today. And what it was is, I don't have a specific word to describe the events that unfolded today, but we are going to talk about all of that here today. We're going to cover Vince McMahon, the important tidbits of SmackDown, and then from there, we'll go ahead and jump into Rampage, talk a little bit of Forbidden Door, and pretty much get into the week of it all, because there's a lot more wrestling happening this week. Usually, I wrap up my weekends on Fridays. Usually, Fridays is my last weekend of the show, but on pay-per-views, it's a busy weekend this time, because tomorrow, I will be talking Triple Mania over on Fightful, and then on Sunday, there's still Slammiversary. I mean, there is just so much happening right now. Before I get started with this here, just a heads up, everybody, this is a very interactive show, so please take part in the chat. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know how you felt about everything, and also send in super chats if you guys want. If you want to get your question, comment, or statement read on the stream, you are more than welcome to send in a super chat. Not only do you get your question read here on the show, or your statement, or your opinion, you also help me out a whole lot, since I do keep my super chats and all of that. But oh my God, let's get to this, everybody. We're going to kick things off with Vince McMahon and what happened with that whole situation. Now, we won't go through the nitty-gritty details because I've been everybody and their mothers has already gone through all of that. I've made several videos on here on F4W Online breaking down the news in terms of the allegations and what came out of the Wall Street Journal. And then again, I kind of just recapped a little bit of what we woke up to. Most of us woke up to this morning with the news of Vince McMahon stepping down as a CEO. He's still running creative. He's still running creative, so on that end, things have not changed. Now, let's get into the SmackDown situation, everybody, because this was the thing that had, like I said, everybody buzzing, everybody wondering, what the hell is Vince McMahon going to do? Instantly, my gut instinct when I saw that Vince McMahon was going to be talking on SmackDown, and when I saw that he was also going to be doing it in character, my gut instinct was, this can't be good. Like, this can't be good. And the reason I felt that way is because this is a serious situation, whether people like to admit it or not. I know a lot of people are, diehard fans and probably don't want to admit that, but this is a serious situation. Like, there's a reason why Vince McMahon at least had to step down as CEO and chairman. There's a reason for that. And so with that being said, when I saw the announcement that he was going to be talking on SmackDown, I'm like, what can come out of this? Like, I know the reason why they were doing it, which was ratings and buzz around the show. Okay, I get that. That makes sense. A lot of people can argue that, it's not a great tactic, but it's not surprising. It's something that we would expect from, WWE and Vince McMahon and how they kind of run about things. So that was definitely not surprising, but it was still like, oh, what is going to be done? My my prediction heading into Vince McMahon on SmackDown was I had a feeling he was going to do like a Vince McMahon versus the world type of promo, or like the world versus WWE type of promo. That was instantly what I was expecting. But what we got was a little bit different. And I think for this one, there was a lot of read in between the lines, read the body language, read the room. So let's break down what actually occurred here. And this was about like less than a minute of Vince McMahon. So we kick off SmackDown with the then, now, forever intro. And it was funny because I was about to tweet, man, this intro hits differently today, but I didn't tweet that because the second I was about to do that, Vince McMahon's music hits and he opens up the show. And I thought, okay, well, that's it. I got to stop and listen and see what Vince McMahon is going to say. So he comes down to the ring. And first and foremost, one of the things that I brought up today when I was on Wrestle Talk podcast was, what is the crowd reaction going to be? How are the people going to react to Vince McMahon? Are they going to boo? Are they going to be silent? Are they going to cheer? What the hell is going to go down? Legitimately, I had no idea because, for the most part, I know things, you can't judge. Twitter is not the entire world, okay? Twitter is not representative of the entire world. While there are millions of people on the app and, thousands and thousands of wrestling fans on the app, it is not indicative and not representative of WWE fans as a whole. And so even though there are a lot of people that share same opinions on Twitter, you still don't know how the fans in the live event are actually going to react. So Vince McMahon comes out and he comes out to a positive, cheering crowd. And I'm thinking, oh my God. And realistically, and I know people are probably not going to like this, but it looked bad. It looked bad when you have people cheering. And I know you can cheer for the character version of Vince McMahon. I get it. I get all of that. Trust me. But it looks bad right now, considering the investigation, considering the allegations. I wasn't surprised, but I was a little bit like, oh my God, this is not really totally the reaction that I was expecting, but maybe I didn't know what I was really expecting. So I was immediately taken aback by the reactions. And I know some people brought up, WWE pipes and sounds and cheers and effects and sounds like that. And we know that. And usually it's very obvious because usually when WWE, especially when they pipe in sound, you hear the chants, but then the crowd is like making no movement and nobody's looking like they're actually cheering. No, this time they got shots, man. They got shots of the crowd cheering and having a grand old time, clapping, etc. So this wasn't like they weren't cheering and like it was piped in sounds. No, they were legitimately cheering. So Vince McMahon gets in the ring and he thanks everybody. He's happy to be there at the Target Center in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I've been there. And then he mentions the now then forever intro that's part of the show. Okay, so he mentions that. And then he says that now is the time to be the most important part of the now then forever portion is the togetherness. So he mentions kind of that's it. He just says like the togetherness is like one of the important portions of that. Then he says, welcome to SmackDown. And he throws the microphone and he walks out. That is it. Legitimately it. So if you saw this news earlier today and you were like, oh man, shit's gonna go down on SmackDown today with Vince McMahon. Crap, I gotta go to work. I'm gonna miss SmackDown today. Damn it, I'm gonna miss what Vince McMahon's gonna say. You did not miss anything. If any of you here had FOMO, fear of missing out because you were afraid you were gonna miss a train wreck, maybe some could consider this a train wreck. I don't know. But it wasn't necessarily what a lot of people might have expected. It was brief, very, very brief. But I do want to break this down because even though this was brief, there is a lot that I feel like you can read in between the lines. Instantly, the number one thing that I kept seeing on Twitter was a lot of people basically saying that the way they read this situation with Vince McMahon is that he came out and he basically said, if I'm going down, you guys are all coming down with me. That was like the number one thing that I kept seeing from people in terms of their responses to the video and to the comments that were posted in regards to Vince McMahon. The way I kind of saw it as I legitimately saw it as like an FU thing, like an FU guys for whoever's, not believing in me, for whoever, is talking, I'm, doing this to me and trying to bring me down, FU, because he basically came out and said, like, we're all in this together, then now forever. And he's, very cocky and very confident, and then just throws the microphone and gets out. And it seems like he's unbothered by the investigation, unbothered by the allegation from the appearance. And on top of this, there were reports, and there was a recent one that came out with Fightful where they mentioned that, and I'm not reading this verbatim because I read this earlier, but they pretty much mentioned that Vince, from the reports, is looking like he's in good spirits. Now, you and me, we were in a situation like this. I highly doubt we would be in good spirits. We'd probably be breaking down, very stressed out, very, very stressed out. Okay. So this whole thing was just, I didn't think it was needed. I know people are going to say, like, oh, what do you mean it's not needed? Like, it's going to get people buzz. It's going to get the show buzz, and it's going to get ratings and this and that. But in terms of it really, really being necessary, not really, because there really wasn't that much to say about what actually happened. There wasn't really that much. Like, it was so short, it could have been non-existent. They could have had Stephanie McMahon come out and be like, hey, like, I'm the interim CEO. And I think that probably would have felt a little bit more different. Maybe that would have been a little bit more giving us something more to talk about, because really here, it's just a lot of reading in between the lines, reading the energy that Vince McMahon brought to the ring, reading the body language, reading the things that he did in terms of throwing the microphone, and just a couple of words that he said. But other than that, that's really speculation, because I could have seen it one way. The person next to me could have seen it an entirely different way. So really, it's all speculation with that there. So thoughts here, guys. I know I spoke a lot, but I wanted to make sure I kind of ran down everything before I forgot my own opinion. So please let me know how you guys felt about the Vince McMahon appearance today on SmackDown. Was it what you expected? Was it better than you expected? Worse than you expected? Let's get some opinions in here. We got our first super chat of the day. Once again, if you do want to help out this podcast, help keep me funded, you can send in a super chat. It's also a guaranteed way to get your comment, question, or statement read on the air. Noonie says, can you believe this man strutting down to the ring today of all days with misconduct allegations running rampant? And that was another thing that Sean posted on Fightful Select too, was a lot of the reactions from talent backstage. And so that was interesting to hear as well, to kind of hear how the talent felt about this, because let's be real, I'm pretty sure most of them did not really know what Vince was actually going to go out there and do. My other speculation in this is that because it was so short, but the way that it was promoted heading into the show, I almost feel, and I would not be surprised if there was some sort of like rewrite heading into this, or if maybe Fox was like, hey man, keep it short. Don't do anything that's too troublesome. Don't say anything that could be too troublesome in terms of the investigation. That's the way that it felt. It felt like maybe there was somebody saying, hey man, keep it short. Don't overdo it. Let's just stick to this then, now, forever stuff. And that's it. It did feel to me like they trimmed it down, but it also feels like that wasn't necessarily the initial intention. Like, I feel like the initial intention was for there to be a little bit more to that. At least that's the way that I'm reading it. But thank you so much to Noonie for sending in the first super chat of the day. I very, very much appreciate it. Let's see what else we got here, guys. And this is from Sticker Reds 202, who says, I think Vince planned on a big defiant statement, then chickened out wisely, then Riddle had to fill a lot of time. Maybe chickened out isn't the right word, because I can't, you gotta see it this way. Like, maybe you and we'd probably chicken out in a situation like that, but you gotta understand, like, Vince is, a billionaire. Vince has gotten away with a lot. And so I think he probably comes at this with a different mindset and a different approach. So I feel like maybe chickened out isn't the right word. I'm going to say maybe talked out of it. Like, maybe he was convincingly he was convinced not to necessarily say maybe what he was going to initially say. Okay, Johnny writes, it's a huge tease to have Vince step down from everything but creative. I honestly, like, I would be surprised. See, but then again, like, damn, I think today with him coming out and just being in good spirits and looking very confident, people tend to gravitate towards that. We've seen it happen where people, even though people in these situations, sometimes like when they're like super confident about it, there are people that'll be like, you know what? Well, if he's confident, I'm gonna be on his side because he's confident, right? And we saw that today with the crowd reaction from tonight. And so kind of seeing that, like prior to this, like this morning, I was thinking, oh man, there's no chance that Vince McMahon stays on creative for very long. Like I wasn't expecting him to be on creative for very long. I still like maybe 70% of me still feels like Vince is not going to be part of creative for very long. But then after today and after kind of seeing the spirit that he's in, 30% of me, I have some doubt where I think he might still stay in that position. I just don't know anymore. I was a little bit more sure this morning, but I think after the SmackDown appearance, I feel a little less sure, mainly just because of really of how it all happened. But let's get some more comments in here. This is from Leonard Aarons III, who says, him stepping down was strictly for PR and not much more. In all seriousness, he probably didn't even need to. Steph is there just to fill a seat, and that's it. She's largely punchless. And let's get some more comments in here and see what people are saying. And this is from HB Goo, who says that he thinks what happened tonight was underwhelming. I think underwhelming is a good way to say it because I think most of us were expecting something a little shocking in terms of a train wreck. I think that's legitimately what we were expecting there. We got people saying this was carny, very cringe. That was a lot of what I saw on Twitter as well. And we got some super chats in here and see what people are saying. This is from Diable37, who says, any interested person who never watches WWE or wrestling got a big dose of reality when it comes to a segment of the WWE audience. A bad look. It is a bad look, and I hate to say it, but it is a bad look when you have a person being investigated for something like this, and you have a whole arena full of people cheering. It's indicative of like, oh, well, this is how the fan, like if you're a casual, like let's just say one of your friends that doesn't watch wrestling, and let's say they've been, watching CNN. Shout out to Dave who was on there today. But let's say you're watching CNN or you're watching any of these other mainstream news websites that are reporting on this, and it's a serious matter, and you're getting that part of the story, and then let's just magically say that person randomly tunes into SmackDown and then sees the crowd response to Vince McMahon. I think it's two different things. You're getting on one side, you got the news portion of this, like, this happened, and then you're going and you're seeing the show, and then what you're getting is people responding in a positive way. It does look bad. I think it looks bad, and that's me stepping outside of the bubble, like me stepping out of this from, I'm a WWE fan. I'm stepping out of this and trying to look at this from an outsider's perspective. And if I was looking from the outsider's perspective, seeing the crowd reaction to this, I'd be like, oh, that's not a good look. And they're representing pretty much all the fans when they're there, so that's kind of how I feel about it. But let's see what else we got here. My good friend Cole Henderson, thank you so much for sending in this very lovely super chat. Didn't send in a comment, but thank you so much regardless for sending this in as well. Let me make sure that I didn't skip anything because of my StreamYard here. No. Okay, perfect. I got them all. All right. Let's get some more comments in here and see what people are saying. Let's see. This is a comment from Grande Hero, who says, I was actually embarrassed to be a WWE fan tonight. This was Vince telling everyone that he was still in charge and he wasn't going anywhere. It was a huge F you move. Yeah, I think a lot of people read it that way, kind of including myself as well on that list of people who read it that way. Let's just see what else we got. This is from a Devin who says this is largely manipulative on Vince's part. The Kaio Put says no one in WWE cares about the affair. Sadly, what they care about is Vince messing with the money. Shareholders do not like that. That's been the big I think that's been the biggest misconception in terms of a lot of the people who are defending Vince in this situation. Their defense, and this is because I've seen it on Twitter because these comments have been written to me and they pop up on my timeline. A lot of people don't seem to understand the legal aspect of this. And basically, you got a lot of people saying like, oh, he had an affair. It was consensual. And that's their defense. That's their defense for Vince and all of this. But they're not taking into account, the money, the NDA, the raise, and basically the financial portions of it that does include the shareholders and why they're even doing this investigation in the first place. So I think there's a lot of people defending it as, oh, well, it's just an affair. What, are people not allowed to have affairs? No, the issue is the money. The money is the issue. And that's what the investigation is really for. So let's get some more comments in here and see what people are saying. Let's see. All right, I'm trying to get some more comments in here. And this is actually from Sheldon Jackson. Thank you so much to Sheldon for sending in a super chat. He says, read the room, Vince. Read the room. Tonight was not the night to do this and make it about yourself. Disgusting and tasteless, in my opinion. Again, guys, it was for buzz and it was for ratings. But thank you so much to Sheldon for also sending this in here tonight. And man, we got so much different stuff here. Ooh, this is from Devil Within, who says Vince's body language is very combative. I think he's doing this as a last hurrah. I think he knows he's not long for his position. That could be another thing too. Again, I think when you're given such a small amount of when we're given such a small dose of this appearance, I think we're kind of working on like studying body language and reading in between the lines is really all we've got right now, at least from this appearance here today. Oh my God. All right, guys. So there you go. Let's go ahead and continue on from here and see. We got a couple more items to talk about. Let's get into, I really want to talk, I'm not going to break down every little thing that happened on SmackDown today because just some stuff is not really that important. I want to talk about the major stuff so we can have more to talk about in regards to those things. So the next thing that I do want to talk about is really quickly the Matt Riddle promo, because this one is more so in regards to Randy Orton. He basically mentions that Randy Orton is having a big operation coming up. This has been reported already that, he's not doing well with his back. WWE fears that he's going to be out for the remainder of the year. And let's be real right now, with so many injuries going on, it's not, you don't want to lose another talent because it is slim pickings. And trust me, we're going to talk about the slim pickings later on and a repeat of certain storylines that we've been seeing throughout the last couple of years. If you did not watch SmackDown, if you haven't read the news, well, you're going to be very excited. Well, not very excited, but you're going to be something. All right, moving on. So people chant, thank you, Randy. So that was nice there. Again, this was more so just to give us an update on Randy Orton there. Let's go ahead and move on from here. And let's get into, we do have a comment here. This is from Noonie, who says, what are your thoughts on the fact that Stephanie McMahon took this leave of absence, was buried publicly, and then was promoted to interim CEO and chairwoman upon Vince's decision to step down? My thoughts are that it's very obvious that, I mean, it's hard to say, like, to give these words out, because when Stephanie, left and was going to be taking that break, they said, like, it was reported, like, this was all on her own terms. This was all her, she wants to spend time with her family, da-da-da-da-da. But then afterwards, she's essentially buried by the company, and it's a very, very bad look. And, it sucks, right? And then, now she comes in and she is interim CEO. It's a bad look for those that basically try to bury her and say, terrible things about her, because now she's the interim CEO. So it basically just tells me that there's a lot of disconnections, but with the recent drama and the recent crisis and all, it tells me that people are working around the clock trying to figure out things and doing things just sporadically to try to make things work for at least right now. So that's kind of where I'm at with all of that. There was also this was also put out by Fightful Select that a lot of people, a lot of talent were happy to see Stephanie McMahon in this position. A lot of people a lot of people really like Stephanie McMahon. So I thought that was really good. If the talent is happy that she is in this position, that's a good sign. There was also a comment that was put in there by Mickie James earlier today on Twitter, where she was basically telling Stephanie McMahon that although this was, maybe not the ideal situation for her to take over as CEO, that this is something that she's been working towards her entire life, and basically wished her the best and all of that. So there seems to be a lot of respect there for Stephanie. So that's at least very good to hear, at least in my opinion. All right, so let's go ahead and move on here and go on from here. All right, so let's see, where are we at with this? The next thing that I want to talk about is we had the Madcap Moss match with Happy Corbin. Madcap Moss wins, but what we really need to talk about is that it looks like they're going to be pushing a story between Corbin and Pat McAfee. So this is okay. So first of all, I'm a big fan of Pat McAfee. I really love everything that he does, from commentary to his outside projects outside of WWE, and basically everything that he's done in terms of storylines, the matches that he's had, whether it was on NXT or WWE with his match at WrestleMania. I've really been enjoying everything that Pat McAfee has done. With that being said, even though I like everything that Pat McAfee has done, the fact that Corbin is now moving on to working with an announcer again, it just kind of goes to tell you, there's not really that many options in terms of feuds and storylines, because the roster right now is very slim. I'm still looking forward to Corbin versus Pat McAfee, because I'm pretty sure that's what we're heading towards, because basically after the match today, Baron Corbin called out Pat McAfee on all of the negative comments that he's been saying about him on commentary, etc., and warns them that he's going to beat him up in the ring. Pat McAfee grabs the microphone and makes fun of Corbin and gets the crowd to basically chant along with him and make fun of him as well. And so that's obviously going to lead to a match at some point. I don't hate the idea, again, because I do like Pat McAfee. This is a comment from Johnny P22 who says Pat is a gem. He is. He really is. I'm a fan of his, honestly. All right, moving on. The other thing that I want to talk about for SmackDown is an update on Money in the Bank. They have Adam Pearce has officially added both Drew McIntyre and Sheamus to Money in the Bank, so they're now joining Seth Rollins in the Money in the Bank. We had another qualifier, which was Raquel versus Shayna Baszler. It was a short match, but a decent match. Raquel Rodriguez wins, and now she qualifies for the Money in the Bank. Now, let's get into the final topic for SmackDown, because we had a pretty interesting end to the show. This was probably the most interesting portion besides the Vince McMahon stuff. So we had I was going to say Randy Orton. We had Matt Riddle versus Roman Reigns for the WWE Universal Championship, Undisputed Universal Championship, excuse me. And this was a freaking awesome match. Holy shit, I love this match so much. Roman Reigns versus Matt Riddle freaking rocked, okay? It was so good. It started off hot. It stayed hot. I knew going into this match, man, there's no way they're going to have Matt Riddle win. But I kind of wanted to have Matt Riddle win, but I knew it wasn't going to happen. I'm like, what are the chances of this happening on a random SmackDown? Really, what are the chances, right? I was more so trying to use that was more so my logic in terms of why they wouldn't have Matt Riddle win. But during this match, they had a couple of moments where they had these near falls that I legitimately really fell for. And there was also this point in the match where I thought, damn it, just give it to Matt Riddle. Give it to Matt Riddle, because we already know Roman Reigns is going to be MIA for Money in the Bank. He was MIA for the last pay-per-view. And so I kind of wanted to see Matt Riddle win the belts. But let me kind of talk a little bit more about what actually happened in this match. Immediately, right at the start, you see Matt Riddle go after Roman Reigns with a series of strikes. And when he hits those strikes, man, he goes at a rapid pace that is very enjoyable to watch. But what I really liked was that you get this visual of Matt Riddle like kicking him. And then Roman Reigns just comes and freaking smacks Matt Riddle. I bloody love that. We got a corkscrew moonsault from Matt Riddle. That was good. I mentioned the near falls. We see Roman Reigns blocking RKO, whatever the hell he's calling it. And then he ends up doing a Superman punch. That was good. Finally, later on in the match, Matt Riddle does hit the RK Bro and he goes for the pin and ends up being a near fall. And Roman essentially ends up spearing Matt Riddle and gets the win. So it was a solid match, a good match. If you didn't watch SmackDown today, I would at least go out of my way to check out this main event because it was good. It was a good match. But unfortunately, because Matt Riddle lost, he can no longer challenge while Roman Reigns is champion. So make what you will of that. Then Roman Reigns does what he does every time he beats a new competitor, right? He gets on the microphone and he says, "There's no one left. That's it. There's no one left." And every time, without fail, when Roman Reigns says, "There's no one left," you hear the song. Dun, 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 dun. Brock Lesnar comes out. And yes, if you did not watch SmackDown, if you have not seen the news and you're like, wait, did Denise just say Brock Lesnar? Yes, I did. Brock Lesnar comes out looking all yeehaw with his cowboy hat and his denim clothes and all of the things that make Brock Lesnar. He comes out and he smiles. He gets into the ring. He tells Roman Reigns, or he like extends his hand and wants to shake Roman Reigns' hand. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, we've done this 1 zillion times. Either I'm really stupid and they're going to shake hands and that's going to be it, or we're going to get what we always get. And that is another feud. And by God, we're getting another feud because instead of shaking hands and just ending the show, no. Roman Reigns falls for it. He goes in to shake Brock Lesnar's hand and Brock Lesnar F5s him and then F5s everybody else and just goes rampage. So that's what's happening. We're back to Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. On top of that, immediately following SmackDown, WWE put out a tweet. We have our official match for SummerSlam. That is right, ladies and gentlemen. Brock Lesnar will be challenging Roman Reigns for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship in a last man standing at SummerSlam. That is the big main event happening at SummerSlam. Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, last man standing. Congratulations. I don't know why I'm saying congratulations. Congratulations. That's happening. I'm a big Brock Lesnar fan. I'm a big Roman Reigns fan, but I think we've gotten just about everything we can get out of this story. This has been a very, very long tale. Next week on SmackDown, they announced that Intercontinental Champion Gunther will be defending the title in a rematch against Ricochet. Not too shabby. I don't hate the idea. They had a good match. We're also going to be having a men's Money in the Bank qualifying match. Shinsuke Nakamura versus Sami Zayn. Whoever wins that gets added to the Money in the Bank. And I hope it's Sami Zayn. Plus, we also get a women's qualifying Money in the Bank. We're going to be getting a match between Aaliyah and Shotzi Blackheart. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be Shotzi. I'm rooting for Shotzi to get added to that match. All right. We got a super chat here from Hector Rodriguez who says, I saw it on Facebook and I was like, oh my God, here we go. Guess this was the backup plan. I'm assuming this was the only plan. Part of me wishes that they would have just had Matt Riddle win tonight, shock everybody and be like, holy shit, we actually had a title change on SmackDown. This actually happened. And then, I don't know, make Matt Riddle have a match at Money in the Bank or something. I don't know. I'm booking this show. All I'm saying is maybe we could have done something different and actually had Matt Riddle actually win the titles here tonight. Hell, you could have still had Brock Lesnar come out and had him confront Riddle or something. I don't care. Anything that would have been a little bit slightly different. So there you go. That was today's show for SmackDown. Oh, what a day, what a day, what a day. All right, before we move on, because we are going to get into Rampage. Once again, guys, if you do want to go ahead and get your questions, comments, or statements right on the stream, you want to help me out, keep me funded, you're more than welcome to send in a super chat. But before I do that, ladies and gentlemen, please indulge me for a second as I give a shout out here to our sponsors. The WrestleRumble.com is currently sponsoring this podcast. They are my first ever sponsors. We love them very much on here. WrestleRumble.com. So we're all wrestling fans here, guys. We all love to talk wrestling. We love to predict things about pro wrestling. Let's be real. We're kind of addicts, or at least I know I am. Well, we all kind of are. Okay. Anyways, so if you want to go ahead and predict things that are going to happen for Forbidden Door, you can head on over to WrestleRumble.com and you can purchase an entry. If you purchase an entry, you get you get to answer prop questions about what is going to occur on the show. Whoever wins has a chance of taking home some real cold hard cash. The fourth place winner will be taking home a mystery prize. The third place winner will be taking home $100. The second place winner will be taking home $200, and the first place winner will be taking home $500. Now that is a lot of money. Can you imagine having $500 extra in your pocket because you went to WrestleRumble.com and answered questions about the thing that you love? I think that's pretty freaking awesome, okay? So WrestleRumble.com, head on over there. Make sure you guys enter the Forbidden Door Pick'em contest. Keep an eye out. They haven't opened it just yet because I'm pretty sure they were waiting for all the matches to be announced. As soon as that opens up, I will let you guys know. But in the meantime, you can also follow them on Twitter and or on Instagram at _ Denise Salcedo. Please let them know you heard about them on my show so that they know they got their money's worth it and they know people are talking about Wrestle Rumble. With that being said, everybody, let me go back to the chat here and make sure I didn't miss anything here. Nope. Okay, great. Well, in terms of like super chats, I was making sure I didn't miss any while I was away here. I don't have a moderator today, guys. Man, I shouldn't have said that. I should have said that because then people are gonna go nuts in the chat. I every now and then I get Kyler to do mod to mod the show, right? But sometimes I have him on here and sometimes I don't. So, please do not go insane now knowing no one is modding this show. All right, moving on. Let's go ahead and jump into AEW Rampage because we got a pretty, I would say, decent show. I don't think this was my favorite episode of Rampage. There was probably only one match that I liked, and I think you guys will already know which one that was, and that was the main event. I thought this was a so-so Rampage. I think it could have been a little bit better. But anyways, we kicked off the night with Jon Moxley versus Dante Martin. This was not necessarily a favorite of mine, and the reason why is I didn't really care very much for this match because I didn't really think we got anything that was okay. So let me explain. Let me go back a little bit. So when I saw Jon Moxley versus Dante Martin was announced, I know on Wednesday, one of the things that I said in regards to this match is, this is a really good opportunity for Dante Martin to really go out there and impress people and kind of do what Daniel Garcia has done. Because Daniel Garcia has done a really good job of going from he's growing. He's growing each and every single time in terms of being the new young kid on the block, the rising star, the rising young talent rather. And, making his way up the ranks, right? He's had some pretty fun matches and we've seen him really start to level up in his game. Dante Martin, I think, has been doing a great job too. He's been somebody that I feel has been talked about a lot amongst fans in terms of, young people that, people are rooting for. So I thought, okay, this is going to be a really great opportunity for Dante Martin to really, really stand out. With that being said, I didn't think I saw anything that was completely impressive, aside from maybe like 2 crossbodies, which isn't really anything to be over the moon about. I didn't necessarily feel that this match was like super OMG, what a great performance for Dante Martin here. I thought there was a lot of near falls that I didn't feel the lead up or the build up to those near falls were necessarily so. They didn't make me believe. They didn't make me believe. One of the things that I talked about with that match with Matt Riddle and Roman Reigns is that they made me believe that Matt Riddle had an actual chance there at, winning the match, right, with the near falls. 2 different things, right, but still a little bit along the same lines. And I didn't believe at any point during this match that Dante Martin legitimately was going to, kick out or, whatever from these near falls. So for me, I kind of felt like there was nothing that really stood out to me in terms of this match. Jon Moxley, he hits, his greatest hits, basically goes in there. He gets him with the elbows. We see him hit him with a couple of knee strikes. We see a lariat from him. He ends up winning via submission. But again, I think this match could have been a little bit more solid, a little bit more of a just a match to really elevate and take Dante Martin to that next level. So that's kind of where I'm at on that end. So let's go ahead and see what people are saying here today. All right, let's see what we got here. This is from the Kyoput, who says Dante Martin is really getting better, but he missed some spots tonight. It was a bit clunky. My name is not Earl, says Mox versus Matt Sydal would have been a lot more fun. And let me see what else. Hector Rodriguez says, oh no, Denise, you started a storm you can't get out of. And hey, it happens, guys. It happens. All right, let's go ahead and see what else people are saying. And let's see. I'm trying to get some thoughts here on how you guys felt about this match, but I'm seeing a bunch of random comments here. This is from Andrew, who says, Dante got a few good moves in, but he needs to add some more grappling to his repertoire. He could use a little bit more time at the Regal's learning tree. We can all use some time at Regal's learning tree. All of us. The Polished Jet says I low-key scoffed when Dante Martin offered a handshake. Like, do you know what it takes to get Moxley to shake your hand? Ask Yuta. Yeah, Yuta has definitely learned some hard lessons in that ring for sure. This is from Dale Arazi, who says, I think they've done this match too many times. Someone else should have taken the loss to Mox. All right, let's go ahead and get some more on here as well. We got people with a bunch of different opinions here. This one is from Mega Geek Mixer, who says he was expecting it to be Wheeler Yuta breakout performance, but not really. But Dante does have potential. Yeah, I completely agree. It wasn't the same exact breakout performance that like a Yuta had, but it was still, he still has potential. Like one match isn't going to like ruin your potential, like that's not, like this is not game over for Dante Martin by any means, Still rooting for the guy. This one just wasn't necessarily a groundbreaking, I guess, performance. We got a question here from Melissa Cabello, who says, Denise, are you live streaming Slammiversary? I will be on Fightful immediately following Slammiversary to talk about the show. So I won't be doing a watch along because for those shows, I like to really sit down and focus and pay attention and write my little notes and, all of that junk that I have to do. So I won't be doing a watch along, but I will be doing a post show immediately after for those of you guys who want to. All right, let's go ahead and move on here. So after this, we got a very quick match. This was Max Caster and the Gunn Club defeating Leon Ruff and Bear Country. Good for Leon Ruff. Happy to see him there. Good kid. I've had a chance to interview him in the past, and he has this very, very high energy, and I really vibed with that. I really vibed with him when we did our interview. So I'm happy for him to get this opportunity. This was literally like a 1-minute match, okay? Like a 1-minute match. Really, the only thing that stood out to me during this was Max Caster's opening rap, in which he said, quote, this was part of his rap. He said, quote, we back up in the mix, got more people hearing me than January 6th. Honestly, I have something to say, but somebody made me sign an NDA. Read between the lines. Well, you don't have to read between the lines for this one. I think it's pretty straightforward what he's talking about here. But either way, this was the line from Max Caster during his rap today. But again, this was this quick squash match. Caster and the Gun Club won. Nothing else to add about this. And let's go ahead and continue on here. And DKamai06 says he laughed when Jericho said Ruff needed to eat some more sandwiches to hang with Bear Country. Jericho has some really random good lines throughout his commentary, I think. He randomly says things, and I'm like, what? Like, what? I don't even know what, like, who? Oh, man, I forgot. No, never mind. I was trying to remember something that Jericho said a couple months back, but I don't want to mess up and say the wrong thing because he said something really funny, but I don't remember the exact details, so I don't want to mess it up in case I do. All right, so let's go ahead and continue on from here. Let's get into, let's see. After this, we got an interview with Lexi Nair, who interviewed Hook, and basically Hook basically says that he's going to be facing a top prospect from New Japan on Rampage next Friday, and then that was about it. Danhausen interrupts, and he basically chats a little bit with Lexi Nair, tells her like, "Oh, does anything excite Hook?" And that was kind of it. So that's what we got from there. After this, everybody, let's go ahead and get into this TBS championship match, which was Willow Nightingale versus Jade Cargill. I really, you know what? I enjoyed this for what it was. I completely enjoyed it. We all knew Jade Cargill was going to win, retain her championship. She's continuing that streak. I think I lost track already on what number she's on. Is she on 31, 32, or 33? I forget. I know she's somewhere around there in terms of wins and her streak. But I know last week, one of the things we talked about was, if Willow were actually to win, this would be pretty huge for Willow. But they've invested so much in Jade Cargill that I think for the most part, we knew that it wasn't going to happen. I think the moment when Jade actually loses the TBS championship, we're all going to know, okay, this was it. This was the time. This was the moment to do it. But this one was spotty in terms of like, I don't think a lot of people really felt like, oh, this is the concrete moment where Jade Cargill is going to lose the TBS championship. I don't think many people felt like that. It would have been surprising, sure, but I don't think many people felt real confident that Jade Cargill was actually going to lose this match is what I'm trying to get at. But regardless, they had a fun little matchup here. So Stokely Hathaway is on commentary, and some of the spots that we saw during this match was right at the top. We see we see Jade go for the pump kick, and Willow blocks it, and she ends up hitting Jade Cargill with an ensiguri. I really liked that. That was really good. I really, really loved when Jade lifted up Willow and was carrying her, just like showing the strength, and she just starts like squatting with Willow on her shoulders. I thought that was very impressive. So that was really good. Jade finally did hit the pump kick, and then she ends up hitting the face buster, and she ends up getting the win there. So that was good. Afterwards, we did see Athena and Chris Statlander come out, but it was all right. Honestly, it was all right. Okay, moving on from here. Before I get into the matches that were announced, I do want to let you guys all know, if you are a brand new viewer to the show, welcome. Thank you so much for giving me a try. I appreciate you guys for coming in, but just know that I am live on here 3 times a week. I'm live on Tuesdays to chat NXT 2.0. I'm live on Wednesdays to chat AEW Dynamite. It's my favorite show of the day. I'm live Fridays to talk SmackDown and Rampage, and you never know what you're going to get on those shows because we never know. It can be a day where like nothing happens or a day when like everything happens. So come into those shows. On top of that, if you're not a video person and you don't like to watch video podcasts, I am also now free and available to listen to on any and all major platforms. You can search up this podcast on Apple Podcast, on Spotify. Just type in Speak Now Pro Wrestling by Denise Salcedo on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and I am on there and able to, you can listen to me via the audio. Also, it's brand new too, so I still have to really promote it a little bit more, and I don't really have too many ratings yet. So if you guys have listened to my podcast a lot of times, please go leave a rating, whether it be on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, because again, I just recently started promoting this. This was a new thing that F4W decided to do. So I really need to promote it a little bit more. And so if you guys can, especially if you guys already know the video versions of these podcasts, please search those up. Please leave some ratings. I'm going to probably start reading some of those on the air as well, just to kind of promote that and get that moving along so more people can listen to the podcast and whatnot. But now, we got a super chat here from Sheldon Jackson. Thank you so much to Sheldon, who says, Chris Statlander for TBS Championship and Chris Statlander for, let me reread that. Chris Statlander for TBS Champion and Willow for ROH Women's World Champion. Oh, that's your picks. Good picks. Honestly, I would love to see Willow as ROH Women's World Champion. I think she would be like the ultimate baby face. And then Chris Statlander, we've been talking about Chris Statlander for a bit, man. People are rooting for her. They're rooting for good things to happen to her. And there's a reason for that. She's also a very likable person. And she's been there for such a long time. And I think people want to see her have her moments, right? Thank you so much to Sheldon for always being very generous on here. Alrighty, moving on from this, we are going to go ahead and get into the Forbidden Door rundown. So the matches that have been announced for Forbidden Door, we got Jon Moxley versus Hiroshi Tanahashi for the interim World AEW World Championship. We got the All Atlantic four-way that's happening. So far right now, we just know that Pac and Miro are in it. We still need the two other opponents. We also have Thunder Rosa versus Toni Storm for the Women's Championship. And we also have FTR versus Jeff Cobb and the Great O'Khan versus Roppongi Vice in a winner-take-all match. And then we also have Will Ospreay versus Orange Cassidy for the IWGP US title. And I just realized that one more match is not listed on there, and it is the Chris Jericho, Minoru Suzuki, Sammy Guevara match against Eddie Kingston, Wheeler Yuta, and Shota Umino. So those are the matches that are currently announced for Forbidden Door. Also, on top of that, we also have Dynamite on Wednesday. We have Aussie Open and Will Ospreay versus Orange Cassidy and Roppongi Vice, and Chris Jericho and Lance Archer versus Jon Moxley and Hiroshi Tanahashi, taking place on Dynamite this Wednesday. Alrighty, let's continue on from here. The main event, Darby Allin versus Bobby Fish. This was definitely the match of the night for AEW Rampage. I thought it was a really aggressive match, mainly with the way that Darby Allin was taking all of these like bumps, hitting his head, hitting the back of his head. That was the major selling point of this match here today. It was brutal, but it was enjoyable. It was brutal, but it was enjoyable. Really nice dive from Darby Allin to the outside on Bobby Fish. He literally looked like a freaking firework just taking off there. Fish doing a dragon screw onto Darby on the barricade, not once, but twice. And they were really putting over the fact that he hit himself like on the barricade. That was brutal as well. We see Darby do the coffin drop on the outside to Bobby Fish. We see Bobby Fish spear Darby to the outside of the ring. That was brutal too. Then he tosses him into the steel steps as well. So he's just taking a bunch of physical pain in all of that. Darby Allin gets the win in this match. And then immediately afterwards, Bobby Fish continues the attack on Darby Allin. And lo and behold, the lights go down and we end up seeing Sting. And Sting comes out. He takes out Kyle O'Reilly. And this allows Darby Allin to basically get into the ring, and he ends up doing Pillmanizing Bobby Fish. He puts the chair in his on his leg. He puts his leg through the chair, and he goes to the top rope, and he does the coffin drop. So that's pretty much how we wrapped up AEW Rampage. I loved the ending of the show. I thought that was the best part of the night, was the main event. But overall, that's where we're at, guys. That was SmackDown. That was Rampage. Woo, so much to talk about. Johnny P22 says Sting with a perfect crotch shot on O'Reilly. I loved the shot too afterwards of Kyle O'Reilly, just like on the stage, on his knees, holding his balls. It was great. Great shot there. And let's see what else we got here and see what people are saying in regards to this. Let's see. Our rig says how Darby isn't in the hospital. I don't know. I don't know either, guys. I mean, wishing him the best. He goes out there. He puts his body on the line just like everybody else, but he does tend to do some things that are like, holy moly, guacamole. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that was it for today. Thank you guys so much, as always, for joining me. Once again, if you haven't subscribed to F4W Online, please make sure you guys do so. We're well on our way to 100,000 subscribers. Please join this family. We post so many videos. On top of that, I have a news series that I post. I post about 4 videos a week called The Latest, where I really just give you a quick rundown of all of the latest news stories. So it's a really quick way. If you're not a reader, you're like, I don't want to read. Just somebody tell me. That's what you can watch. On top of that, please, if you haven't just yet, follow me on Twitter and or on Instagram @_ Denise Salcedo. I am very, very active, and I'm always looking forward to making new friends on here. Other than that, guys, enjoy your weekend of wrestling, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, everyone.